Hello. For the next 20 minutes, I'll explain how we can get the benefits of Washoe Reno area growth without sacrificing our quality of life. This is Richard Klein. I'm president of Community and Environmental Defense Services, or CEDS for short. The red dots on the map to the right shows the many places where we've helped people preserve their quality of life from the effects of poorly managed growth. Our specialty is finding ways of resolving growth impacts that allow sound development projects to proceed. CEDS was hired by Silver Knolls area residents last spring. This is the Silver Knolls area. Here you see an aerial photo of this part of Washoe County. Red Rock is the main road serving the 2,000 existing Silver Knolls area residents. Silver Knolls residents are concerned about three development projects proposed for the Red Rock corridor: Evans Ranch, Silver Star Ranch, and Silver Hills. These three projects would increase Silver Knolls area population from the current 2,000 to nearly 24,000 people. Traffic volume on Red Rock Road would go from the current 7,000 trips a day to more than 90,000. It was this dramatic increase in growth which caused Silver Knolls residents to fear for their quality of life. Since last spring, Silver Knolls residents have joined with other groups active throughout the region to form the Washoe Reno Smart Growth Alliance. The goal of the alliance is to provide Washoe Reno area elected officials with the public support needed to achieve this goal by adopting more smart growth principles. After all, we know that our elected officials care as much as we do about getting growth benefits without sacrificing the things that make the Washoe Reno area such a great place to live. This is the CEDS definition of smart growth. In the remainder of this presentation, we'll use the Red Rock Silver Knolls area to illustrate how smart growth could get us all the benefits of growth, but with fewer impacts. Here are some of the many benefits of smart growth: more and better jobs, housing that's affordable to all community residents, reduce congestion through improved bus and transit services, school class sizes that make for good education, fewer tax increases, parks where overcrowding is seldom an issue, and an overall higher quality of life. And here's what you get with the conventional approach, or dumb growth: ever increasing traffic congestion, ever higher taxes to pay for the cost of poorly managed growth, and larger class sizes with increasingly overcrowded schools, which lowers the quality of education. The dumbest growth of all is what's commonly called rural sprawl, or new homes spread across the countryside far from population centers. This map shows the Truckee Meadows region, which includes Reno, Sparks, Verdi, Washoe County, and the other areas. The green and blue patches on this map are approved but unbuilt development projects. According to the Truckee Meadows Regional Planning Agency, these projects would add another 70,000 housing units to the Washoe Reno area. Here are those three Red Rock Silver Knolls proposed development projects I mentioned earlier. We'll use these three projects to illustrate how dumb growth will harm current and future Silver Knolls residents. Then we'll show how the same number of housing units could be accommodated in smart growth areas with far fewer traffic, tax, and other quality of life impacts. According to the Truckee Meadows Regional Plan, there could be another 100,000 people and 43,000 housing units throughout the Washoe Reno area by the year 2038. Those three Red Rock Corridor projects would add more than 9,000 housing units, which is 21% of the growth projected for the entire Washoe Reno region. Here's how adding 9,000 housing units could affect Red Rock Silver Knolls traffic congestion, safety, and child health. This Google map shows traffic congestion is mostly limited to the city of Reno. I suspect most Washoe Reno residents view this lack of congestion as a much cherished aspect of their quality of life. Here you see two-lane Red Rock Road as it exists today. It's been proposed for widening to 4 lanes. Widening isn't needed for current traffic, but for that added by the Evans Ranch, Silver Hills, and Silver Star projects. Transportation planners use a system known as level of service to rate the degree of traffic congestion. Like school grades, the rating goes from A to F. A is free-flowing traffic with very little delay. F is gridlock. A level of service of D or better is required on regional roads like McCarran Boulevard. The Washoe County Master Plan calls for a level of service of C or better for roads like Red Rock. At a level of service of D, rush hour traffic speed is about half of what it is during other times of the day. When level of service drops to D, drivers begin using neighborhood streets to bypass congestion. This is part of the reason why neighborhood streets in congested areas have some of the highest pedestrian injury rates of all road types. On the left is the Washoe Regional Transportation Commission plan covering the Red Rock Corridor. The table on the right is from this plan. The table shows how much daily traffic will cause a road to exceed each level of service congestion ranking. The yellow highlighted values are applicable to Red Rock Road. Transportation studies done throughout the U.S. show that each new house adds about 10 trips per day to our roads. These trips include those made by folks living in each home, as well as delivery vehicles and other visitors. This graph shows the current daily traffic volume of about 7,000 trips per day on Red Rock Road. Acceptable growth reflects a 2009 agreement struck between the Silver Hills developer and Silver Knolls residents that would have allowed 680 housing units versus the 1,872 presently proposed. With the units proposed by the current Silver Hills developer, Red Rock traffic will quadruple compared to existing volumes. The unbuilt Silver Star Ranch would add another 15,000 trips each day to Red Rock Road. And the Evans Ranch would cause a second doubling of Red Rock Road traffic. All told, these three projects would increase Red Rock traffic volume by a factor of 12. This graph shows how much traffic the current 2-lane Red Rock Road can handle without exceeding level of service D congestion threshold. As shown here, just one proposed project would subject the 2,000 current Silver Knolls residents to severe congestion on their primary access road. To accommodate the anticipated traffic increases, the transportation plan calls for adding 2 lanes to make Red Rock a 4-lane road. The red line in this graph shows how much traffic a 4-lane Red Rock Road could accommodate without severe congestion. As you can see, all three proposed but unbuilt projects would cause very severe congestion on Red Rock Road even after it's widened to 4 lanes. There are a large number of homes with driveways that directly connect to Red Rock Road. Given the anticipated traffic volume, it may be near impossible for these residents to safely turn onto Red Rock Road in the future. None of the plans for the 3 projects or the regional transportation plan explain how this impact will be resolved. Another traffic concern is the effect of vehicle emissions on public health. Children and pregnant women are particularly at risk from this air pollution. The California study on the left calls for restricting new highways within 500 feet of homes. The study on the right indicates a 1,000-foot separation is what adverse health effects become significant when traffic volume is in the range of 24,000 to 50,000 trips per day. This graph shows that the three proposed Red Rock Corridor projects will cause volume to exceed these adverse health effect thresholds. These aerial photos show the most densely populated stretch of Red Rock Road. The box on the right surrounds the numerous homes within 1,000 feet of Red Rock Road. The health of the children, pregnant women, and others living in these numerous homes will be at risk if traffic volume exceeds the 24,000 trip per day threshold. This issue has not been addressed by Washoe County, the Regional Transportation Commission, or any other agency. Another public health and safety issue is emergency services response time. The likelihood of saving life and property is far greater if fire and EMT personnel reach a home within 4 to 8 minutes. As Red Rock Corridor congestion becomes increasingly severe, it'll be ever more difficult to quickly reach those needing help. Silver Knolls and the three projects are in an area at high risk for wildfires. Red Rock Road would be the primary evacuation route in the event of a wildfire or other disaster. Given that the three projects would cause severe congestion during a normal rush hour, it's difficult to see how 24,000 future residents could safely evacuate during a wildfire. As with the congestion, driveways, and air pollution issues, this concern has not been addressed. With regard to traffic impacts, here are some of the smart growth principles that should guide future land use decisions. First, in Washoe County, developers are only required to address the congestion caused by just their project. In most other places, developers must show that the traffic from their project, plus that from all other proposed development, will not cause undue impacts. Projects should only be approved if these cumulative impact studies show that excessive congestion will not occur, traffic volume will not threaten public health, and residents can safely evacuate during wildfires and other emergencies. Now let's turn to the question of the tax impacts of sprawl compared to smart growth. The recently adopted Reimagine Reno plan on the left contained the fiscal impact analysis on the right. The data presented in the next few slides is from this analysis. We'll use several maps from the Truckee Meadows Regional Plan to give you a better sense of what sprawl and smart growth would look like. This map shows anticipated new housing throughout the Truckee Meadows region with a classic or current growth management approach. Note that some of the greatest increases in new housing units will occur in the Red Rock Silver Knolls area. This and other rural area growth, far from population centers, is sprawl. On the left is the classic growth management map from the previous slide. The map on the right shows how new housing could be accommodated within or adjacent to existing populated areas. This is the essence of smart growth. It's far less expensive to accommodate new homes where roads, water and sewer, schools, libraries, and other public services already exist. In fact, it can cost 20 to 50% more to extend water and sewer lines to serve sprawl development when compared to smart growth. And road construction costs range from 3 to 25% higher for sprawl compared to smart growth. While Washoe Reno area developers do pay impact fees to offset road costs, it appears that these fees only cover a fraction of the cost. Taxpayers must pay the rest of the cost to add roads, sewers, and other public services. Here are the 3 steps our elected officials can take to gain the benefits of growth without forcing all of us to pay higher taxes. First, present policy allows sprawl in areas where new roads, water and sewer lines, and other infrastructure must be built. Infrastructure costs are substantially lower in smart growth areas. New development should be guided to smart growth areas. Now for the last of the 3 impacts illustrating the pros and cons of sprawl versus smart growth. We touched on the wildfire issue earlier, but given how serious this issue is, it deserves a lot more detail. This graph shows that the number of Nevada wildfires has increased dramatically over the past 17 years, and a staggering 500% increase is predicted for the future. This map shows how wildfire risk varies throughout the Washoe Reno area. The Red Rock corridor is in an area of high wildfire risk. The Washoe Regional Mapping System map shows that the Red Rock wildfire risk area in more detail. Orange indicates an area of high wildfire risk. The blank squares are federal lands which are not rated. One can assume, though, the risk shown on adjacent lands would extend into these squares. The map on the right shows that the 3 proposed but unbuilt projects, Evans Ranch, Silver Hills, and Silver Star, are all in high wildfire risk areas. If all 3 projects are built, then nearly 24,000 people may come to live in this wildfire high-risk area. The traffic portion of this presentation showed how the 3 projects would add 80,000 daily trips to Red Rock Road, and Red Rock would be the primary evacuation route for the 24,000 future residents. This graph, which you saw earlier, shows that excessive congestion will occur when the 3 projects cause traffic to exceed the 37,000 trip per day threshold. And if all 3 projects are built, traffic volume will far exceed that causing excessive congestion. None of the plans or other documents regarding Red Rock corridor growth have explained how these 24,000 future residents will safely evacuate using Red Rock Road as their main escape route. This is a very serious question that must be answered before any more growth occurs in the Red Rock corridor. Given that most wildfires are started by people, adding another 22,000 people to the Red Rock corridor can only increase the likelihood of wildfire. The document on the left is the Washoe County Building Code for new homes built in wildfire risk areas. While adherence to these code requirements reduces risk, recent research, like the study on the right, indicates the danger to life and property is unacceptably high even when new homes are built to these codes. It's because building codes are not enough that elected officials elsewhere in the U.S. have begun restricting new homes in areas at high risk for wildfire. Pictured here is the San Diego County General Plan. On the right is Plan Guiding Principle 5, which calls for prohibiting or at least restricting development in high-risk areas. We must support our elected officials in adopting this same principle throughout the Washoe Reno region. Here are the 3 steps essential to guiding growth to areas where new residents will not be exposed to excessive wildfire risk. First, present policy allows sprawl in areas with high wildfire risk and inadequate evacuation routes. Instead, new development should be guided to smart growth areas where risk is moderate to low and ample evacuation routes exist. New homes in high-risk areas should only be allowed if cumulative impact of traffic will not congest evacuation routes and fire protection services are fully staffed and equipped. Following this presentation, former CAL FIRE Director Ken Pimlott will share his experiences battling wildfires and tirelessly working to protect public safety and property. Ken will explain how your support will allow our elected officials to ensure that our firefighting heroes have the support they need to protect us. but a key element is guiding growth away from high-risk areas. In these last few slides, we'll explore how growth in rural areas could be managed to reduce, but not eliminate impacts. The Silver Hills project will be used to illustrate these management principles. As mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, Silver Knolls residents spent 10 years negotiating with the Silver Hills developer. These negotiations led to a 2009 agreement to limit the project to the 680 lots pictured here on the left. However, the developer recently proposed tripling the number of Silver Hills units. In hopes of reopening negotiations, CEDS sent the letter on the right to the developer. Unfortunately, the developer never met with us to begin negotiations. Had we met with the developer, we would have started negotiations using a conversation piece like this graph. The graph shows how much traffic each of the three projects could add without causing excessive traffic congestion on a 4-lane Red Rock road. The blue bars is traffic from each project as proposed. The gold bars is traffic from scaled back projects. Note that after reducing the number of proposed housing units, the traffic from all three projects is just shy of the excessive congestion threshold. This could have been a win-win for Silver Knolls residents and the developers of all three projects had they only agreed to meet with us. In August, the Washoe Planning Commission denied the rezoning, which would have permitted tripling Silver Hills housing units. Next Tuesday, October 22nd, the Washoe County Commissioners will hear an appeal of the Planning Commission denial. Please join with us in urging the County Commissioners to uphold the Planning Commission decision. The fact sheet you received upon entering this room explains how to contact your County Commissioner. Also, please urge all Washoe Reno elected officials to guide new development to smart growth areas where roads can handle increased traffic, taxpayer costs will be lowest, wildfire risk is moderate to low with ample evacuation routes, and fire protection services are fully staffed and equipped. And urge the Washoe County Commissioners to postpone sprawl area rezoning decisions until new smart growth policies are in place, beginning with the Silver Hills project. For links to the plans, studies, and other information sources mentioned in this presentation, visit the Washoe Reno Smart Growth Alliance webpage at ceds.org/WRSGA. You'll also find a link to this presentation on the webpage. Thank you for your patience. Now back to Lily, Lewis, and Russ.